And we're back again to what makes our inner work work. And this time the meeting is called Is It Working? Okay, so you're really welcome to ask things related to that, but not necessarily. I've also received a few questions that I can use for this part if there is nothing that you want to ask. So if you want to ask anything and you're on Facebook, then join us in the Zoom room so you can participate. I won't be seeing your questions on Facebook, I'm sorry. If anybody wants to talk with or without video, you're welcome to raise your hand, or you can write in the chat box. It can be either in Hebrew or in English, and I'll translate to English if necessary. So until I see if there is anybody who wants to say something or ask something, I got some questions regarding working with inner selves. So let's begin with that, okay? Why do you think, why do you work with opposing inner selves or parts in voice dialogue? I discussed it a little bit before, and of course, in order to really understand it very well, it's very important to learn it. But just a little bit about it. Voice dialogue views us as very naturally containing very many inner selves or parts or voices, okay? And that isn't a problem. It's the natural way of things. However, it doesn't always work very well. Usually, actually, for most human beings, it, for some reason, doesn't work very well at all. For example, some of the inner selves can be feeling very much pain or anger or distress or fear or guilt or whatever. And that, of course, influences the person they're in, these inner selves. Some of the selves kind of take control of us, and it's as if they jump on the car wheel and the car, and they try to drive our car for us. And we don't really have a lot of say about where they're taking us, okay? And often we're not even aware of that. And many other parts are unloved. We try to kind of get rid of them, we judge them, or it would be perhaps more accurate to say that one part or several parts do not like another part, and they're trying to get rid of it, or they're judgmental towards it, and so on and so forth. Now, when I work with opposing parts, one of the wonderful things that happen is that now I work, for example, with a very frightened kid, and then I work, for example, with an adventurous part that is, I don't know, likes danger, for example. And it creates a sort of balance within me while I figure out how to accept both sides, and I begin to live more and more from the aware I, which isn't a self or a part, but is for me a state of consciousness that is able to encompass the opposites and kind of move between them and enjoy all the options, okay? So the main reason perhaps that we work with opposing parts in voice dialogue and in the flowering diamond way is that it creates the possibility to both accept everything that is within us without becoming ruled by anything, and we become more and more complete because we accept more and more of our parts. And this actually works very well, okay? And through doing this, we understand what it is to live from the aware I and how freeing and easy it becomes to live that way. Okay. I'm just checking if there's any more questions or anything else here. Not yet. Okay, another thing that I was asked was, could you please tell me about important mistakes people make when working with inner selves and emotions? So, of course, there are plenty of possible things that we can call mistakes or things that simply don't work very well. And that's the whole series is about stuff like that, amongst other things. But let's discuss a few things that may be very relevant to a lot of us. So whether we do it through voice dialogue or just work in any other way, judgment is the main thing that kind of is a mistake, okay, that doesn't work. Because if I'm working with anything within myself or in anybody else while judging it, then of course I'm trying to change something by force, and I'm not really respecting it as it is now. And this relates also to the letter I read to you in the first part. Okay, so our learning to trust that we can first of all simply be with our inner selves or our emotions or our aches and pains or whatever, without judging them, without saying, oh, I hate my eye because it gives me pain, or oh, I wish that this emotion will stop. You know, I don't want to feel guilt anymore. I hate it. You know, all these things are all sorts of variations of being judgmental towards what is. And immediately when we try to work from that point of view, we create friction and we create resistance, and it doesn't work. It just becomes worse and worse. So one of the best things we can do is to learn to simply be with what is, and then work with it from a beginning point of, it's okay, whatever I'm feeling, I can just be with it. I don't need to run away. I don't need to fix this. I don't need to make it go away. I can just be there. And just doing that is so empowering and changes everything. So I hope I've answered a little bit of that. Somebody wrote here, let's see. Thank you very much. You've given me a lot of things to think about, and also a feeling that my inner work is working, and the things that I'm looking at, things like how would I translate it? Things that I'm checking again and again, like I explained earlier, are helping me to see how much it works. I'm really waiting for the right time to study voice dialogue soon. Great. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, anybody else want to talk with me or to ask anything? If not, we will call it a day. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll see you all, or some of you at least, next Monday as we continue to explore. There's still a lot more to explore. What makes our inner work work and what kind of impedes the work. So bye-bye for now.
אוי, הכל במה נכנסת.
Where were you?
יש רגע זמן או לא?
Okay, yes, we can continue a little bit. So we haven't ended yet. So whoever wants to stay is invited.
So I want to share. I just realized every time I get it in another level, because, you know, when I created like 23 years ago of making peace with your body, it was based on experience that I had when I was studying acting at Bet Zvi. I had like enlightenment in a בתרגיל, and so I'm coming now to the point that even though I did it at that area and I was really master passing it forward, in other things I still need to do the same work. So for example, I promised myself for months that I will go to sleep early and change the clock again, because I was a normal person that's going to sleep, you know, 11, 12, but sometimes if it's a party. And now it was even before the Corona, I really, I say this promise and I don't keep the promise.
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow day, even though I did fall asleep again in front of TV, that I saw Selves, that it's so funny that I really...
Please get to the point, because we don't have too much time, okay?
That, I did manage to wake up early and go to the sea before the lesson. And I realized, you know, on the beach, I told myself that until I will accept this character, that is what she's...
That is what? I didn't hear that. I can't hear you. That is what? Until you accept that character?
This character that doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to go to sleep.
Okay.
So two characters even. One is the one that wants to enjoy more and more and more, because also it's a very difficult time, you know, so we need to enjoy. So I'm very busy, so see my funny things after 12 o'clock. And the other is little child that doesn't want to go to sleep.
I understand. So
she doesn't say goodbye today.
She doesn't?
No, I just want to share that I realize that until I will accept this, because every time I say I will never do it again, I know it from other subjects, you know, I will never eat bread again. Okay. Eat bread.
So listen, you know, that I can't, you know, discuss it in full, but I want to remind us all of a few things. First of all, what really works is to figure out how to give something to each and every inner self, okay? There's this noise at your side. Maybe you can mute for now, okay? So, for example, we have inner kids that really need time for, it can be things like doing nothing, or it can be doing what we feel like doing and not what we need to do, or you know, watching TV or whatever. It can be all sorts of things. So if this inner child doesn't get enough respect in your life, then it will demand it, because it needs it, you know, it really needs it. So so if you're keeping yourself too busy and you forget completely about this child, and then it comes you want to go to sleep early and this child hasn't been getting any attention for a long time, then it will demand to get what it needs. And sometimes they can be very strong. So again, it's not a bad thing, but try to see if you can be in a relationship with this kid and take into account what it needs, and not leave it only to just a little bit before bedtime, okay? And then you're not at war, in a way, with the needs, the natural and healthy needs of a child to have some relaxation or fun or stuff like that. But you're accepting it, and you're working with it, and you're figuring out how to find time for it in your life. And then you won't be kidnapped by this child when you decide that you want to go to bed. You will have the strength from your aware eye to say, I'm going to spend an hour with you tomorrow morning, for example, and we're going to do things that you really, really like and enjoy. But right now, my choice from the aware eye is to fall asleep. Okay? So we'll finish with that. It was a great question. I hope some people will watch it in the recording, because I think it could be very useful for many. And thanks a lot. Thank you all, and those who are here today. And see you next week. Bye-bye.